I want everyone to now bend over to their right-hand side, grab your seatbelt and buckle it in, because I'm about to ask a property guy a question that he probably gets every day, and we haven't discussed this prior to pressing go. If I am 55 and I do have $800,000 in my superannuation, why wouldn't I go out and just buy a property with cash and set up a self-managed super fund? It's such a loaded question. Just strapping in for the response. Because surely that's, while you kind of chew on that, so many people in Australia think that property is the only way to actually make money and the true path to wealth.
Yeah.
And it is true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there comes a lot of issues when you've got big, chunky, lumpy assets.
Yeah. So probably mindset.
And how many clients do you have that walk in your door and go, oh, I've got all this super, let's buy property, baby, knowing that all they're doing is moving from their 80% growth portfolio that's diversified to a one asset, one sector property and no diversification.
So basically what you're saying is I'm taking my 800K, I can do a better job with it than the superannuation firms, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So if you've got a portfolio of property and that's all you've got alongside your 800K of super, I'd be very wary to go and also put that into super, into property.
Into property.
Right. You want that level of diversification across not only your property portfolio but also your wealth assets in general, right? So I'm very hesitant to say to people that come to me and say, look, I've got this spare 200 grand in my super, I want to go and buy an investment property. Okay, well, let's concentrate on what's happening in our personal lives first, and then we'll get to that super conversation. But for now, why do you want to take it from your super? Because what's it not doing for you at the minute, right? The fee is relatively pretty low. The performance might be 6% one year, 9% the next, or something similar.
I just think it is that mindset that, because we see so many people do so well out of property, that if I own a property or more properties that I own, the better I'll do. So therefore, why wouldn't I try and buy a property with my super?
Yeah, well, if you own that 800 outright in your super, arguably the running costs of that property, if you turn it into a property, will be a lot less. You've got no loan. You don't have to deal with the banks. You'll still have the audit costs and the setup costs of buying the entity, buying the asset. But you look at it and say, do I want to be 100% geared into property? Yes, it's comfortable. Yes, it's safe. Yes, I've had some great results from it. If you had another $1 million in super and wanted to take 800 and turn it into a property, then the implications are far less. But if you're risking all of that from your super, putting it over to property, there's some question marks.
And I reckon as well, you have to, particularly in your 50s, right? It's it should be for a lot of people their highest income earning decade. You're at peak career, you really no more than the 20-year-old who's just joined from uni who thinks they know it all. And
the kids might be out of the home.
Yeah, like you should be real pumping on cylinders. And that's why I believe when it comes to investing in property, if it is something that you wanted to do and you do have equity in your current house, I really think you wouldn't consider setting up a self-managed super fund if you've got 300 ticking away or 400 ticking away, because if you did set up the self-managed super fund and borrow to buy a property, number one, you'll pay more in interest rates. It's such a pain in the ass to set up a self-managed super fund and run all that stuff. But if you look at the traditional negative gearing strategy where people claim the loss on their tax return, you just wouldn't want to do it in an environment where the tax rate's 15%, where out in your own name, it's going to have more bang for your tax deduction
highest
buck.
Income level.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, it always comes up. Should I buy a property with my super? I think for most people, most of the time, the answer is no, particularly residential investment properties.
Yeah. And I think it's just explore it as much as you want, but don't look outside your situation. It's got to relate to you, because so often we get anchored in by what's happening out there. We've heard the great stories. We've heard my friend at work's doing this, but they're very different situations. So you've got to assign your own situation to your strategies, and that's where I talk about risk levels there as the last point. Right? We just, generally speaking, as human beings, our risk levels will reduce as we get older. That just happens in our brain. Don't know what it is, but it does. So
You get old and sick of the BS.
maybe we've been around the sun a few times, but maybe it's because of the results or the history that we've had as well. So I think we need to understand our own risk profiles. So many people I hear have gone in and made this one last-ditch effort to make a lot of money in a quick period of time to get out of work sooner, right? That's fraught with danger.
The problem is as well, it's not only people in their 50s that want to buy property in their super. Like my cousin, she's like 40, messaged me the other day. We can't buy a property in our own name. Should we do it in our super fund? No. Because it's that mindset that if I own property or investment properties, I'll do well. Now, there's a lot of people that buy properties and they're dogs and they do their ass and they don't plan and they sell it within 4 years. You can't walk into buying a property unless you've really know what your strategy is.
Yeah, and I think it's coming back to these 5 sort of tips that we've spoken about today. If we're looking at these before we go in, we're going in with eyes wide open and understanding that everyone's situation is different, that the mindset is the big part, the risk level is just as important, but understanding what you want in the next 10 years, because when we look out far beyond the next 12 months, we can then see, actually, we've got some hypotheticals here. I don't know if I'll be working part-time or I'm going to fully retire. Like, we just want to stay liquid and fluid to be able to say, I can pivot left or right here because I've made that decision because I wasn't sure if I was going to be part-time or retire in 5 years' time.
Yeah.